Hi everyone, Carter Krishnaiyer here for Beyond the 90. Real quickly, if you're not subscribed to Beyond the 90, we're really encouraging subscriptions now. We are rolling out some new features for paid subscribers, which include live video chats that we'll start doing, our 24/7 text chat that you can do within the Substack platform, where you can discuss topics related to USL, NISA, international football, European football, whatever you please on there. If you're a free subscriber, you get access to almost everything we do on the site. There are some articles that are behind a paywall that are early access articles, like this NISA story we're about to discuss. So I've been asked to clarify my reporting on NISA, which came out for paid subscribers Wednesday morning. Now everybody has seen it, right? Thursday morning, it became, it's Thursday afternoon as we record this, Eastern Standard Time. Thursday morning, it became a public post. And lots of follow-up has been asked of me to try and explain exactly what the implications are, what the reporting means. There's some good follow-up on Hudson River Blue by Michael Batista, who broke the initial story in December that NISA had lost sanctioning. Now, we clarified that they hadn't, in fact, lost sanctioning, but that they had not been cleared for 2025, and that they would have an opportunity at the USSF AGM to meet with U.S. Soccer, present the viability, and they needed 8 clubs that were viable with a 5-year business plan to be signed off on. And I don't know how many clubs they presented to U.S. Soccer. Okay, so that AGM was last week, as the report indicated. And I don't know how many clubs they presented to U.S. Soccer that they had, but U.S. Soccer's vetting only found a maximum of 6 clubs. It could actually be even less, even fewer. I think it's 6 though, because I've been told the number 6 is the number that's come up. One source said as many as 6. So it's possible it's 4 or 5 or 6, but I think it's probably 6. 6 clubs that meet the D3 professional threshold, that passed all the audits, all the vetting. U.S. Soccer is getting more strict about that this year because of the problems NISA has had in the last few seasons. The numerous problems they've had last season, we covered that on the site. The previous season, we covered it on the site on Beyond the 90. The year before that, when we were not covering NISA as closely, you had the Bay City issue, right, and Valley United, right? You had both of those. So last year you had Arizona, you had Georgia, you had Savannah, you had various issues. The one club I can report that is out of NISA, from what I understand, is Zeta. Their ownership apparently paid all their bills. That's what I've been told, and just didn't quite care for the way things were done in the league. That's their decision. I'm not passing judgment on that. There are other clubs that are interested in joining NISA, the professional ranks of NISA. So where does this leave everything? U.S. Soccer told NISA as of February 28th, March 1st, the AGM, that you're not there yet. You have not been given clearance to begin your season. However, that does not mean they won't have a 2025 season. What it means is that they need to get, let's say they have 6, they need to get 2 more clubs who are financially buttoned up, that have the proper facilities, that have the proper ownership group that meets standards, and then they can proceed. U.S. Soccer wants NISA to stay in business. I can't stress this enough. U.S. Soccer does not want a league collapsing, particularly when a World Cup is being hosted in this country next year, or co-hosted, right? It's co-hosted with two nations now that, as of a few days ago, the U.S. is in a trade war with. But let's hope that passes over. Those of you who know me and know my economic philosophy know that I'm an opponent of tariffs and protectionism, right? It's like my basic core economic principle is that I'm a free trader. So I'm not a fan of what the current U.S. administration is doing in terms of China in terms of not China, in terms of Canada and Mexico, and how that might also affect our World Cup next year. So let's hope that passes. But NISA. NISA is a league, a professional league that U.S. Soccer understands gives more playing opportunities to guys, to players, that is employing staff that could be valuable front office people who are working in the sport as we grow the game. They're giving infrastructure opportunities. Some clubs are building infrastructure, most aren't, let's be honest about. But in theory, they could build infrastructure that benefits the game down the road. So they don't want the league to collapse. This is why they're being very, they're trying to be a partner with NISA in this process. If this had been a past administration at U.S. Soccer, I think they'd be long gone. I think NISA would have been folded up before last season, or maybe even before the 2023 season, and that would have been that. Done and dusted. There's a void in that space. Yes, there are other third division leagues, I know that, but there'd be a void in terms of maybe a league with a different philosophy that doesn't sell franchises like USL does, or isn't a single entity league like MLS is. So market competition is good. To my point on my objection to protectionism and why I'm a big free trader. Markets and competition are good, and they rise all tide. A rising tide lifts all boats. But NISA has not proven that when they independently vet clubs and say they have 8 clubs or 9 clubs or 10 clubs, that those clubs can make it through a season, let alone multiple seasons, which is what U.S. Soccer wants to see. So U.S. Soccer is going to continue to work with NISA on this. They don't want the league to collapse. Maybe the league doesn't play until the fall. Maybe they don't play until 2026. But there is a very, very good chance they are going to play again. I know people are reacting to my story saying, well, that's it, they're done. They could be done. It's possible, very possible. It's also very possible that this just is some time off for them to get the business right and get all of the things that were uneven in their business, in their operation, in their league evened out. They can straighten that stuff out, and maybe they can do more intense vetting on their own end before they present clubs to U.S. Soccer. That way, now that they have some extra time, that way they're not presenting clubs to U.S. Soccer that on paper may look like they meet standards, but then in actual practice can't make it through half a season without being bailed out by other teams in the league or by loans or by tapping into performance bonds. So that's where we're at. U.S. Soccer wants the league to continue. U.S. Soccer does not want the league to collapse, especially with us hosting a World Cup next year, or co-hosting a World Cup. That is not a good look right now. The Canadian Premier League is doing very well in the lower division space in Canada. The CanPL doing very well. They're bringing new clubs online. They're getting all sorts of investment. Whereas in the U.S. you have a league. Obviously, USL is doing okay. There are varying interpretations of how USL is doing and their moves forward. I think they're doing fine, but NISA is not doing fine. So this is a potential blight even on the World Cup, as if a professional men's league were to collapse in advance of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Obviously, in Mexico, there are lots of issues with clubs, as we know. Lots of issues within the game there, but that's nothing new, right? Mexico is not in the place it was from a league standpoint that it was in 1986 or 1970 when they hosted those World Cups. We know that. But at the same time, they're a much more established football nation than the United States or Canada. So I think there can be a different standard. So in terms of NISA, U.S. Soccer wants this to work. They want NISA to stay in business. They want NISA to succeed. They're going to give them every opportunity to stay around. Now, again, as I said, maybe NISA doesn't get it right. They're not able to add 2 more clubs. They're not able to cross that line. 2, 3, 4 more clubs it might be, but I'm thinking it's 2. They may not be able to cross that line. They may not be able to make the financial model work for the 6 existing clubs that have passed muster and passed vetting. If they bring 2 other clubs that may be misaligned with those clubs from a business philosophy or geographically misaligned. Travel is a big part of this. But NISA is not dead yet. I want to stress that part. I want to also stress that NISA Nation is going to continue this season in the summer, although there were some problems there that I'm picking up on that might make the competition look different than it did last season. Some differences with affiliate leagues and maybe even some of the regions, but they're still gonna play. And U.S. Soccer is going to work through this, which is a healthy thing for us as a soccer playing nation, as an evolving footballing nation, that we have a federation that's willing to sit with a professional league that isn't buttoned up, that has had all kinds of problems, and they're willing to work with them through these problems. I know there are people I've seen on social media all the time, or in comments, or even people texting me, well, NISA needs to go, just put it out of its misery, kill it. That's really fine if you're kind of a fan and you're sick of the drama. And I get it. And I am sick of the drama with NISA. Absolutely sick and tired of it. But what I would stress on this is that's taking playing opportunities away from American domestic players and, some foreign players who might have grown up in the United States. Or gone to American colleges. That's taking away business opportunities from investors who want to invest in this sport to help this sport grow. That's taking away front office employment opportunities from people who work professionally in the sport. And I've been one of those people in the past. So, and I've worked for a club that's gone under. So I can relate to that. I didn't lose that job because I was fired or didn't perform well. I lost that job because the club went out of business. So that's something I can relate to, and I think we have to understand in all of this. And we'll keep you updated on this space. And I just wanted to clarify that. Please subscribe to Beyond the 90 if you haven't already. Whether you get a paid subscription, you can pay yearly, you can pay monthly, or if you get a free subscription, it helps us out a ton. Even if you just get a free subscription and you have full access to the free tier of products or of stuff we give you with Beyond the 90. So thank you once again.